Berman for Sure Local News, and it's time for wine and the Atlantic City Cigar Company. And I'm with Gage Herse, who is the cigar manager, cigar buyer. Oh, you control the inventory. You know cigars inside and out. Gage, welcome to Sure Local Live and Sure Local News.
Thanks for having me.
I've known you a long time. I know you indulge in cigars. You're not that old. When did you begin?
So when I was younger, I would say around high school, I was part of the chess club, and we never really had like a steady place to play, so we would go to the park, and we might have snuck in some cigars, had a little cigar chess time out in the open air, so it was nice.
Now, you are a cigar aficionado. That's the magazine, but that's also what you are. You know cigars inside and out, and you know everything that cigars do for the people who indulge. For yourself, before we get to the people who do not know cigars, what do you look for in a cigar?
Everything's all really preference. My favorite cigars generally come from Nicaragua. Anything with a really toothy wrapper, really rich, hearty tobaccos, Lajero leaves, full body, stronger the better. Something where I can just kick my feet back, have a nice glass of scotch or, a nice beer, and just forget about everything.
A toothy wrapper.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So a toothy wrapper generally is going to be like a thicker, maybe broadleaf wrapper that has like little bumps on it, but it's just the way that the leaf has grown and matured and aged. It's a different experience compared to like your traditional Connecticut, because Connecticut's can be very smooth. Your Habanos generally can get in that area, but they're something about like a really nice age, like a Padron, where they have this coarse leaf that has such a good mouthfeel.
For those of us who do not smoke cigars, but may want to get into it or learn about it, what's a great cigar 101 for novices?
So like if you're trying to get into cigars, my first cigar that I smoked that wasn't anything that was flavored was an Ashton white label, the traditional old Ashton, very light, very smooth, like puff and air with a little bit of pepper. And if your thing isn't tobacco and you want to try something and you're kind of weary, you could always do something sweet. Sugar tip cigars have been huge. Drew Estate makes the acids, and they're one of the biggest things on the market. And the blondies, real short, real sweet, real cheap. Very easy.
I hear about Cuba all the time. Cuban cigars, Cuban tobacco, and then I'm hearing about Dominican and people saying, well, it's actually Cuban. Can you talk about that right now?
Yeah, of course. So Cuban tobacco generally there's more of an allure to it because of the taboo, although they do make some incredible Cuban cigars. A lot of the top 5, top 3 in the past decade have been Cubans. But generally speaking, the tobacco themselves, like Dominicans generally, people say, oh, they're more mild. Nicaraguans, oh, they're a little more full. But it's really just based on what the big name brand guys are making. And at the end of the day, they do have some set notes and things that you could think about, but most of them are blended anyway. So all in all, you can find anything you like.
Here at the Atlantic City Cigar Company, located in the Tropicana and Resorts, you carry a very large selection, including a humidor. So now, for that beginner, what cigar would you have here that would be great for a beginner?
So other than the Ashtons and the Blondies, generally those are going to be the very light, acid makes that sweet acid blondie, and the Ashton very smooth white label. You can also go into like a flavored cigar, like some of the smaller ones, like Tatiana makes very thin cigars that generally smoke a lot lighter than they're labeled as. Other than that, I have Monte Cristo Classics. I mean, I have a plethora of cigars. I've endless amount.
How about for somebody with a more sophisticated taste, with a more mature palate for cigars? Do you have those type here that would satisfy them?
Oh, I've got a cigar to satisfy everybody. I mean, if you're going to pair it with anything like bourbon, I have something rich and smooth, cognac, same concept, maybe a little lighter, like a Connecticut shade. If you're going to go scotch, something peaty, something heavy, hearty, maybe a little bit of cedar spice to combat that. I mean, I've got something for every palate in here.
Gage, I also know that the Atlantic City Cigar Company has their own line of cigars. Can you elaborate on that?
Of course, yeah. We have our own cigars blended by El Titan Nebrons in Little Havana, Miami. We have the Pepe, the Corona. Generally, we have more of a, I like to call it a Churchill, somewhat. We have the Lewinsky, which is
that after Winston Churchill?
Yes, it would be. We also have cigars infused with liquor. We have a Louis XIII cigar, which is a big ticket item, and a Johnny Walker Blue, which is an absolute favorite of mine.
The price of cigars, I'm sure that it's just way across the board. But for somebody who really, really indulges on a regular basis and can afford to, what would a cigar cost them?
Ooh, that's a hard question. Everybody's got a palate, and every palate has their highs and lows. I mean, I've got cigars for $2.99 here. In my box, I have cigars that are $2.99. I have cigars that are $5, $20. I mean, our most expensive is $117. Now, I'm telling you, if I did have one of those in my box, it's sitting for a while. But generally speaking, I smoke a lot. I can smoke anything from a $5 stick to a $15 stick. But, you know, moderation is key. If you smoke all the expensive ones, you're going to be burning a hole in your pocket. You got to know when to smoke to celebrate and smoke for luxury.
Oh, you got to know when to smoke them and know when to hold them. I just got that. Gage, one more thing. This is the Atlantic City Cigar Company at the Tropicana and Resorts, but it's housed in a Time for Wine. So all those fine liquors that you were talking about that pair well with cigars, they're also available here, aren't they?
Yes, sir. We got a plethora of tobaccos, whiskeys, wines, beers, whatever you need.
This is Gage Herse. Stop by and see him. He's usually at the Tropicana. And I'm Mark Berman for Sure Local News.